Joining us live now in the studio is the chairman of the Kenya Auto Bazaar Association, John Kipchumba, to talk more about this. Chairman, welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
8 years is too long for a vehicle to be imported in Kenya. Those are rejects from the other countries. You know that. Those are rejects.
No, that's not. Those vehicles have actually life which has been spent 1/3. And yet we are buying them less than 100,000 kilometers. A passenger vehicle has a life of 300,000 kilometers. So we are bringing, it has used a life 1/3. So the balance of 2/3 is what we are bringing in. And it is value for money? No.
What are the implications of this new regulation if it comes into play, considering that Kenya really has been controlled by used car dealers and importers? If it's set into place that you have to have a car that's no more than 5 years, what are the implications for the dealers and for Kenyan buyers as well?
The first problem is that the prices will shoot up by 100%. So a car which is going for now 500,000 will be $1 million. A vehicle which is going for $1 million will be $2 million. Macute now, a new car, brand new car, 1300cc, like a Toyota Corolla Axio, you are talking of now retailing in Kenya for 3.5 million. So if you go to 5 years, you mean if you get that vehicle in Japan, 5 years doesn't mean that we import a car of 5 years. We'll import a car of 4 years. Currently, we are told to import a car of 8 years, but it's not true. We're importing cars of 7 years plus months.
Chairman, let's face it, there are too many cars on our roads, most of them second-hand, and those aren't on the road, are in the dealerships, from Mombasa Road to Ngong Road to James Gishuru. There's too many cars. They're there, sitting. Nobody's buying.
You don't know. The replacement rate is very high. Every month, 4,000 units are arriving. So, which means the ones in the showroom, you see as if they are not selling. They are selling. So, replacement is very high. You will not notice. So, the vehicles, as the policy says, is that we are congesting the roads. But I'm asking the CS, what are the policies of decongesting Nairobi roads or whichever urban roads? There's no policy. So, you cannot just say, we stop importation of vehicles because the vehicles are full on the road. No. Let the government think. They are not thinking. The PRT, they were saying for the last 3 years, they have been talking about it. Nothing has happened. They have gone to South Africa to buy new ones, to buy the PRTs, to increase the population. What is the policy of removing old vehicles on the road, like 40-year-old, 50-year-old? They are on the road. They're still on the road. And yet, we're bringing in only up to 7 years. Now, they're saying pollution. But what are they doing about pollution or making a policy for making our air better? They are not talking about it. They're just saying, please restrict importation of vehicles. And yet, the older the vehicle, the more the pollution is. Why industrialized countries are manufacturing vehicles every 4 years? It's because they want better efficiency. Secondly, emissions are lower. They are better Euro standards. And we're actually up to date on those ones.
Yeah, but that's why we're getting their rejects.
They are not rejects, sir. You know, like Japan economy is a consumer economy. Every 4 years, they must replace the fleet because they have nothing else to do. So they must keep the people in the factories. So every 4 years, even if your car has gone for 10,000 kilometers, you will just take it to the dealer, you get a new one, and you continue paying the loan.
Would that be better for Kenya? We get those 4-year-old vehicles.
Yes, it's much better.
But the cost is what is going to be a barrier.
No, currently, if you import a 7-year-old car, with the age, I mean with all the variables which are there, that vehicle is more or less good. Why are people liking it? Have you heard anybody complaining about it?
What are some of the alternatives that you're having with government or giving government in this case in terms of coming to some form of a compromise?
Government have a lot of leeway on without actually affecting the importation of vehicles. One, each new car has a duty of 25%, 20% excise, 16% VAT, up to 2,500 cc. A diesel one, from 2,500, it gets an extra 10% excise, which is 30%. If it is a petrol and it is 3,000 cc, 3,000 plus 1 cc, you have an extra 10% excise, which is 30% excise duty. Now, if you import knocked down kit, this is what assemblers are saying. They are charged import duty 10% and excise duty 16%, which is a very big rebate government has given them. Why are they competing? They are not competing because they have not put the act together. They should be telling the government. With all these things now, the whole economy is actually going towards electric cars. Mm-hmm. And they are not talking about it here. Tanzania is already implementing. Uganda is implementing. We in Kenya, we are saying we have the biggest economy. And we are not talking about the hybrid vehicles or electric vehicles. We are not talking about them. Why? Because our engineers here are sleeping.
Okay, Chairman, what is the bottom line? Do you need more time in order to communicate?
No, we don't need time. What we need to scrap the thing, what they're saying is not a policy. Jeff, I want to tell you for free, it's not a policy what they are doing. They have just gone to KMI, Kenya Motor Industry. They lifted their own brief, which is in their website. They're talking of just normal nonsense, that at age 5, a vehicle should be discarded. It is not true. They have no scientific evidence. And the whole world have evidence that shows America, Europe, Japan, a car must go on the road minimum 300,000 kilometers.
Yeah, but America's a big country, you know, so people
even
travel
UK,
long distances.
even Australia, even New Zealand, the manufacturers, even in Russia, the same standard are applied there. So what is so special about Kenya? They have just come in, honestly to say, the CS, Honorable Munya, he doesn't understand the dynamics of motor industry. And can I give you an example? Kenya government, during Moi time, what did they do? They said they want to produce a car, the Nyaya Pioneer 1, which they did. What happened? Because of bureaucracy and corruption, that thing died. It's a big giant sleeping at the railway quarters. The numerical machine. They changed the name from Nyaya Corporation to Numerical Complex Machine. They are not doing anything. The government put a lot of money there to produce late machines for counties. They were supposed to produce at least 47 units in 3 years. What did they do? In 3 years, they produced only 6. And up to today, it's sleeping there. And they are not talking about it. And it is actually at the backyard of the CS. It should be talking of how to revive the numerical machine complex. And how to, you know, in Kenya, we are importing a lot of steel, processed. And yet, we have iron ore in the country, and we're not processing, we're not talking about them.
So we need to boost more local manufacture assembly of vehicles here. And at least sell them more reasonably.
You know, why are you taking vehicles? Even during the time of CS Aden Mohammed, he was briefed that the way to go is motor vehicle. And he called us. We went and explained to him the dynamics of motor vehicle. And he said, honestly, we better go the way he did. And they did the leather industry, the clothing and whatever. These small industries, the one for food processing and all that. That is where we should go because we have the raw materials, which is agricultural. We have to process them. I will give you an example like tea, coffee, potatoes, you know, all these things that we produce in our farms. We should put industries there.
Okay, Chairman, let's admit one thing. There are too many second-hand imported vehicles. Let's admit that. There's too many.
But there's a demand. It is not
demand where? They're sitting on Gong Road.
They are not sitting on Gong Road. They are on the road. They're moving.
On the road where?
Have you gotten somebody who has complained and said, I bought a car which is faulty?
Some of these dealerships, these cars sit there for months.
Jeff, I wish you were here in 1980s. There was a problem. Even me myself, I was a victim. I went and I bought a Toyota pickup. And it took me 1 year for delivery. And they were telling me it is being assembled in Mombasa AVA. And I had to wait for all that time. Now, what CS Munya wants us to do is to go back there. We have come a long way, Jeff.
I'm seeing a point here before we wrap up, Mr. Kipchumba, saying that this limit is only on vehicles for 1500 cc or above?
What is the explanation for that? If Munya was genuine enough, he could have said all new vehicles should be zero rated. And we're saying, as Kenya Auto Bus Association, I'm a patriotic Kenyan, and I want this country to industrialize in a proper way. Why? If we want to manufacture AVA, KVM, and GM, they are saying they have this assembly line. I told them, well and good. Why do you import completely built up pickups, commercial vehicles?
So you're talking commercial vehicles?
Yes, we should stop them, new and used, and let them assemble. And we see in 1 year, you'll see the problem that we'll have, because they will not meet the demand.
Okay.
Chairman, I guess we'll have to leave it at that for now.
Thank you.
By the way, do you have any dealerships?
Yes, we have.
How many?
And we have in
You?
Kenya, myself, I have, yes. And you see how many members do we have about in the whole country? We have 1,862.
Yeah, but how many dealerships do you have?
Myself, have 3 showrooms.
Oh, no wonder you're pissed off.
Yes,
All right.
I have to.
Thank you so much, Chairman,
Because it's my
for
business.
your time.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
take
you,
a short
sir.
break here on Sunday Live. Of course, a debate that will continue to roar on until later on this year when this rule maybe is implemented.
Keyword, roll on.
Will you actually go to court if this is implemented?
Real quick.
Can I
quick
tell
answer.
you? Yes, yes. I'll tell you.
Quick
this.
answer is yes.
In the Constitution, 2010 Constitution, we have a lot of tools that we will use. One of them being the court. Yes.